A very warm good morning to all. Welcome to the Interfaith Humanitarian Alliance session for the state of Odisha. And we will be discussing, and the session will primarily focus on stigma and discrimination in COVID-19 pandemic and also addressing issues of violence against women. Without further delay, I would request Mr. Paritosh, who's the advocacy manager of at Sphere India, to set the stage. Paritosh, over to you.
Thank you, Hepzibah, and a very warm good morning to everyone present here. On behalf of Sphere India, it is my pleasure to welcome all of you in this wonderful panel discussion of Interfaith Humanitarian Alliance to be held in the state of Odisha. It's been a sustained campaign by the government and the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, especially, to launch a campaign of against stigma and discrimination. Because in the initial days and even today, we continue to face some sort of discrimination, and there's a taboo about everybody who's evolved very closely with COVID-19 response. Now, these include members of sorry, apologies. These include members of medical profession, these include sanitation workers, these include the police personnel who've been fighting to protect our rights and ensure that there is safety and law and order in these difficult times. At the same time, this also includes people who have recovered from COVID-19 or people who are currently patients to the pandemic. It was felt that this stigma and discrimination is very unfounded, and it tends to multiply as and when when it is not restricted. And the government of India, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare especially, felt that faith leaders in India have been playing a very key role throughout the various centuries that they've been present here in India. And at the same time, the influence that they enjoy has been leveraged in the past for very good deeds. And perhaps this is a very good opportunity for us to engage with faith leaders and to leverage their influence and to leverage their well thought and the good meaning and their prayers and their thoughts to spread a message against stigma and discrimination related to COVID-19. And we are more than honored to have such a wonderful panel of faith leaders from the various faiths across Odisha to have them represent here on this platform and speak on the issue of social stigma and discrimination. And that is not just social stigma and discrimination that we are looking at for the Odisha plenary session, but also yesterday on the occasion of the World Women's Day, where the theme was fighting against oppression and fighting against violence against women. We felt that faith leaders have in the past played a very key role in empowering women and in ensuring that there is an upliftment of that section of the society. And we thought that there is no better opportunity to speak about women rights and empowerment of women in this plenary session along with COVID-19, because we all know that in the recent past there has been an increase in violence meted out to women during COVID-19. The restrictions have often endangered an entire section of the society, as domestic violence has seen an increase in occurrence. And therefore it is very important and it is very pertinent that faith leaders gathered here today also address this very important aspect of ensuring women's rights are protected and ensuring they are protected against from gender violence and discrimination. And therefore it gives me immense pleasure to have such a rich and such a wonderful panel discussion that covers a lot of thematic issues on apart from COVID-19 and violence against women on this today's plenary session. To just give you a brief introduction about Sphere India's Interfaith Humanitarian Alliance, this alliance has seen its start in mid-April, when the COVID-19 was in very big sway. And ever since then, we've had the Interfaith Humanitarian Alliance conducted in more than 15 states, wherein we have been addressing faith leaders, and faith leaders have been addressing the audience vernacular language to take the message far and beyond. And therefore, to have this in the state of Odisha is our immense pleasure. And to have such a wonderful plenary session will end up being a very rich and very thoughtful process that we all look forward to. So with these remarks, I welcome you all once again, and I bow down to our faith leaders who've so graciously accepted our offer to be present in this plenary session. I'll apologize for not being able to address the audience members in Odia or in Hindi for that matter. I sincerely apologize for that. But I'll urge our faith leaders to use either of these languages, preferably Odia, if possible, to take the message to the last corner of the state, wonderful state of Odisha. With these remarks, I thank you once again and I welcome all of you to this plenary session. And I look forward to a very rich and engaging dialogue. I now hand it back to Hebziba. Over to you, Hebziba. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Paritosh, for setting the context for today's discussion. Uh, with that, I will request Ms. Radhika Srivastava, who's working as the C4D specialist at UNICEF, to kindly address the plenary on the role of faith leaders as catalysts of change in improving lives of women, especially with increasing violence against women. Over to you, ma'am. Her colleague, Ms. Lopa, will also join in shortly. Over to you.
Thank you. Uh, are you able to hear me? Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Perfectly. Thank
Okay,
you.
great. Thank you so much, and a very good morning to everyone here. I think it's a great privilege for me to be part of this gathering, and especially to be in the midst of so many faith leaders. Thank you very much for being with us here today. Um, So I'm working with UNICEF in Odisha, and I basically look after the communication, advocacy, and partnership aspects. And my colleague Lopa Mudra Tripathi, who will join us shortly, she had to go to the government for an urgent meeting, but I think she'll be here in a few minutes. She is the communication for development specialist. So between the two of us, we like to share some thoughts. About working with such an influential group, that is the faith-based leaders. Let me tell you a little bit about my experience in Bihar. So many years ago, I think it was in 2003, and I will, if it's okay, I can also speak in Hindi if you think it'll be better.
Yes,
Uh,
ma'am. You can
huh?
mix the two. Not an issue at all.
Sure. तो मैं थोड़ा सा शेयर करना चाह रही हूँ मेरा जो अनुभव था बिहार में 2003 में, तब मैं यूनिसेफ के ही एक असाइनमेंट में वहाँ काम कर रही थी। और तब आप सबको शायद याद होगा कि पोलियो के खिलाफ जो हमारी लड़ाई इंडिया ने बहुत साल लड़ी है, वो तब जारी था। और हम एक कुछ बहुत डिफिकल्ट पॉकेट्स में काम कर रहे थे, जहाँ पे बहुत ज़्यादा रेजिस्टेंस था पोलियो वैक्सीन के अगेंस्ट। कुछ लोगों में ऐसी धारणा थी कि ये पोलियो की जो दवा है वो अच्छा नहीं है, इट्स नॉट गुड फॉर देम, इससे उनको नुकसान होगा, इससे उनको फ़ायदा नहीं है। और हमने बहुत तरीके के मैसेजिंग यूज़ किया। हमने पॉजिटिव डिविएंस बिहेवियर्स का इस्तेमाल किया, लेकिन कुछ वहाँ पे बात नहीं बन रही थी। और फिर हमने वहाँ के जो बहुत लोकल और बहुत इन्फ्लुएंशियल एक फेथ लीडर थे, उनसे जाके मुलाकात की और हमने उनको कन्विंस किया। उनको काफ़ी एविडेंस हमने दिखाया दूसरे स्टेट से, दूसरे कंट्रीज से। और थोड़ा समय लगा, हम उनके साथ डायलॉग हमने कई सारे ऑर्गेनाइज किए। और फिर जब वो लीडर हमारी मतलब was part of our team and our thought process, then we requested this faith leader कि अब आप कुछ हमारी मदद करिए, क्योंकि आपकी बात कम्युनिटी बहुत अच्छे से समझती है, बहुत ट्रस्ट करती है। तो और उन्होंने, मैं मतलब मुझे बहुत खुशी हो रही है ये कहते हुए कि उन्होंने मतलब ही बिकेम सच अ बिग चैंपियन। मतलब हम लोग तो सब पीछे ही रह गए। ये पूरी पूरी जो एक इनिशिएटिव है, इसको वही आगे ले गए। एंड जितने मतलब कितने महीनों तक हमें कोई ज़्यादा वहाँ ब्रेक थ्रू नहीं मिल पा रहा था, लेकिन इन लीडर के इंटरवेंशन से हमें बहुत अच्छे रिजल्ट्स मिले। एंड एट द एंड ऑफ द डे जो पूरी कम्युनिटी है, उनको बेनिफिट मिला, जो कि हमारा मकसद था, जो हम चाहते थे। हमारा जो मैंडेट था कि हर हर बच्चा सुरक्षित रहे पोलियो से, पोलियो जैसी एक डेबिलिटेटिंग डिजीज किसी को भी ना हो। आई थिंक उस ऑब्जेक्टिव में उन्होंने हमारा बहुत बहुत साथ दिया। तो देखिए, मैंने तो फर्स्ट हैंड देखा है, मैं तो फर्स्ट हैंड मुझे अप्रिसिएशन है ऑन द इन्फ्लुएंस ऑफ फेथ लीडर्स। तो मुझे आपको पता ही होगा या मैं आपके साथ शेयर कर सकती हूँ कि यूनिसेफ की एडवोकेसी की अगर हम बात करें, तो हम एक या दो ग्रुप्स या एक या दो इन्फ्लुएंसर्स के साथ ही सिर्फ काम नहीं करते हैं। हम बहुत सारे डाइवर्स ग्रुप्स के साथ काम करने में विश्वास रखते हैं, बिकॉज एट द एंड ऑफ द डे हमारी जो हम जो कहते हैं कम्युनिटी, कम्युनिटी कोई होमोजीनियस ग्रुप नहीं है। कम्युनिटी एक ही टाइप की चीज, मतलब ग्रुप ऑफ पीपल नहीं है। सो इट्स अ हेट्रोजीनियस ग्रुप, और इसको अगर हम इनके साथ अगर हम किसी भी टाइप का ब्रेक थ्रू चाह रहे हैं, तो वी हैव टू हैव अ स्ट्रैटेजी जिसमें हम एक बहुत डाइवर्स ग्रुप के साथ काम करें। तो इसमें फेथ बेस्ड लीडर्स का एक बहुत अहम रोल है, और हम हर एक स्टेट में फेथ बेस्ड लीडर्स के साथ बहुत प्रोएक्टिवली काम करते हैं। और स्पेशली हम सब जानते हैं पिछला जो साल, अभी पिछला साल नहीं, अभी भी कुछ दिन बाकी हैं, 2020 अभी खत्म नहीं हुआ है। एक बहुत ही चैलेंजिंग साल रहा है हम सभी के लिए, और कोविड ने बहुत अलग टाइप की कम्प्लेक्सिटीज ऐड की हैं हमारी जो सोशल और प्रॉब्लम्स हैं उसमें। और जहाँ तक स्टिग्मा और डिस्क्रिमिनेशन की बात है, मुझे लगता है काफ़ी हद तक हमने इस पे एक, आई वुड से वी हैव मैनेज टू कंट्रोल द सिचुएशन, और इसमें भी फेथ बेस्ड लीडर्स हमारे उड़ीसा में और बाकी राज्यों में इनका एक बहुत मेजर रोल रहा है। मेरी कोलीग लोपा, जो कि बहुत सालों से एक बहुत अहम भूमिका निभाती आई हैं उड़ीसा स्टेट में, वो हमसे कुछ और चर्चा करेंगी, कुछ और डिटेल्स में बात करेंगी। लेकिन आई वुड जस्ट लाइक टू रिटरेट दैट and thank Sphere India, that thank you for bringing me in contact with so many prominent faith leaders. Moving forward, UNICEF Odisha will like to engage very proactively and on a sustained and a prolonged basis with faith-based leaders. And we do hope that we will get your support. We do hope that you will, bless us and help us do our work much better. And I really look forward to being in touch with each one of you. So thank you so much, and I hope my colleague Lopa will join in a bit. But in the meantime, maybe we can go on with the next speaker. And I'm listening in, and I'm looking forward to learning from the speakers today. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Radhika ji, for contextualizing the entire role of faith leaders and giving an example of how the situation can be tackled from Bihar. And we are really grateful for the message that has been brought across. And we look forward to Miss Lopa Tripathi joining and also sharing her experience with everyone else. Uh, I would now, I have two requests to make to all the audience members. If we will move to the plenary session in discussion with all the faith leaders. And if you have any questions, we will be taking all those questions at the end of the session. So you can write down those questions in the chat box, the bubble chat box, bubble icon which is there. सभी से निवेदन है कि वो अपने सारे प्रश्नों को चैट बॉक्स में लिख सकते हैं और सारे क्वेश्चंस को प्लेनरी सेशन के एंड में लिया जाएगा. And also to the faith leaders, would request you to please be mindful of the time given to you so that we can cover a lot of aspects and topics ताकि सारे लोग अपने एडवाइस और अपनी थॉट्स को सबसे शेयर कर पाए और सबकी जो भी थॉट्स हैं वो सब शेयर कर पाए. तो इससे मैं इसके बाद मैं निवेदन करूंगी मिस्टर मनीष लाल. Would request Mr. Manish Lal, who is the manager for interfaith relations at World Vision, to take over the. Over to you, Mr. Manish Lal. Thank you, sir.
थैंक यू. थैंक यू हफ्सिबा जी. क्या आप तक मेरी आवाज पहुंच रही है?
Yes, sir. Perfectly.
ओके ओके. थैंक यू थैंक यू थैंक यू. जितने भी हमारे साथी जुड़े हुए हैं, हमारे सारे पार्टिसिपेंट्स को गुड मॉर्निंग, आप सबों को नमस्कार, मेरा अभिनंदन। और हमारे इस कार्यक्रम में आप सबों के लिए, आप सब जो हमारे साथ जुड़े हुए हैं, हम आपका स्वागत करते हैं। मैं धन्यवाद देना चाहूँगा मिस्टर विक्रांत जी का भी, कि जिनकी ओर से ये कार्यक्रम आयोजित किया गया है, जिसमें कि हम खासकर कोविड-19 से जुड़ी हुई मुद्दों की बातों को रख सकते हैं और और हमारे जो आदरणीय सम्माननीय हमारे धर्म गुरु हैं, जो अलग अलग राज्यों से जुड़े हुए हैं, अलग अलग संस्थाओं से जुड़े हुए हैं, उनकी बातों को हम सुने और अमल कर सके। तो मैं धन्यवाद देना चाहूँगा इस पहल के लिए भी। और अभी हमने राधिका मैडम को भी सुना कि किस तरह से उन्होंने कहा कि फेथ लीडर की भूमिका बहुत ही अहम है समाज में एक परिवर्तन को लाने के लिए भी। तो उनका भी बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। और हम अपने इस चर्चा में आगे बढ़ते हैं। मैं माफी चाहूंगा, मेरे बैकग्राउंड में आप ये जो बोर्ड देख रहे होंगे, इसमें सब नंबर्स लिखे हुए हैं। समझ चाहता हूँ, ऑफिस में मुझे यही एक जगह मिली जहां पर मैं बैठकर आप लोगों से बात कर सकता था, तो इस बैकग्राउंड के लिए मैं क्षमा चाहता हूँ। ओके, सो हम अपनी चर्चा में आगे बढ़ेंगे और विशेष करके आज जिस मुद्दे को लेकर हम बातचीत करना चाहेंगे और हम डिस्कस करना चाहेंगे हमारे, और साथ ही साथ हमारे जो सम्माननीय हमारे धर्म गुरु हैं, जो अलग अलग धर्मों से जुड़े हुए हैं, जिनकी बातों को भी हम सुनेंगे। और वो विषय है कि कैसे अभी हम देखते हैं कि लोग खासकर समाज में जो विशेष करके कोविड-19 से जो मरीज जो कोविड-19 से बीमार थे, उसके बाद जो रिकवर हुए, और खासकर जो लोग हॉस्पिटल में जुड़कर इन मरीजों की सेवा करते थे, उनके प्रति समाज में जो एक या स्टिग्मा कहना चाहिए, या डिस्क्रिमिनेशन की जो भावना है, ये जो उत्पन्न हो रही है, इसको हम कैसे एड्रेस कर सकें। क्योंकि इसका एक बहुत ही मनोवैज्ञानिक या मैं कहूँगा कि एक मानसिक स्तर उन पर पड़ता है, और खासकर उस व्यक्ति के लिए भी और उस परिवार के लिए भी जो इस परिस्थिति से गुजरा हुआ है। और ऐसे समय में समाज का क्या योगदान होना चाहिए, हमारी क्या जिम्मेदारी होना चाहिए, कैसे हम इन लोगों तक पहुंचे और इन लोगों तक अपनी मदद हम पहुंचा सके। तो इन्हीं विषय के ऊपर हम बातचीत करना चाहेंगे। और मैं सबसे पहले आमंत्रित करना चाहूंगा आदरणीय ब्रह्म कुमारी दुर्गेश नंदिनी जी का, और जो कि ब्रह्म कुमारी भुवनेश्वर के साथ एसोसिएटेड है। मैं उनका स्वागत करना चाहूंगा इस कार्यक्रम में। और जो विषय पर वो हमसे बातचीत करेंगी और अपने विचारों को व्यक्त करेंगी, वो है कि कैसे कैसे इन लोगों के बीच में हम आध्यात्मिक बातों को, या एक भरपूरी की बातों को, सकारात्मक बातों को, या इनर स्ट्रेंथ काउंसलिंग को हम कैसे लेकर जाए, और क्यों इसकी बहुत आवश्यकता है, कैसे हम इनके मनोबल को हम बढ़ा सकते हैं। तो इसी विषय पर वो हमसे बातचीत करेंगी। और मैं निवेदन करता हूं कि जो समय हमें अलॉट किया गया है, आप तो कृपया करें कि उसी समय में आप अपने विचारों को व्यक्त करें, ताकि हम और भी जो हमारे धर्म गुरु हैं, उनसे भी हम उनके विचारों को सुन सकें। सो ओवर टू यू ब्रह्मकुमारी दुर्गेश नंदिनी जी, ओवर टू यू मैडम।
Om Shanti. So, am I audible?
Yes, 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 madam, yes.
So, हम सभी इस जो समय में गुजर रहे हैं, तो हम महसूस करते हैं the situation is very critical. Some people have responded to it. कोई कैसा भी हो, and ये क्रिटिकल सिचुएशन से कई तो फायदा भी उठाए हैं, अपनी उन्नति कर चुके हैं। परंतु ये जो सिचुएशन के लिए आज हम एड्रेस करने बैठे हैं, जो गंभीर स्थिति हुआ है, उसको हम इसको कैसे फेस करने के लिए, तो इसीलिए जरूरत है कि हमारी जो इनर कोपिंग एबिलिटी, क्योंकि सिचुएशन इज सेम, और जब कहीं ऐसे हो जाता है कि सोशल डिस्टेंसिंग ये नॉर्म जब आ गया, विशेष हमारी भारतीय संस्कृति में, कोई अगर ऐसे कुछ घटना घट जाती है तो सब एक दूसरे के करीब आ जाते हैं। लेकिन ये ऐसे एक महामारी आई जो जिसकी नाम सुनने से तो एक दूसरे से दूर, फिर ये जो सोशल डिस्टेंसिंग की ना रही तो एक दूसरे के दूर करने बैठे। तो इसी माहौल में हमें विशेष तौर पर हमारी इनर कोपिंग एबिलिटी को एनहांस करने के लिए ना हम अपने अंदर की जो विशेषताएं हैं, जो जो अच्छी तरह से रेस्पॉन्ड कर सके, अगर हम उन सब से भी सुनते हैं ना, तो उनके अंदर जो विशेषताएं हैं उनको काम में लगाए, वो अच्छी सही तरीके से उसको व्यवहार में लाए, तो अपने अंदर और विशेषताएं जुटा पाए। और दूसरी स्टेप है कि जब ऐसे कोई हालत में हम सब भी कोई विक्टिम अपने कोई विक्टिम हो जाते हैं एंड दे फील दे आर डिजेक्टेड, दे फील दे आर आइसोलेटेड एंड सेपरेटेड फ्रॉम द होल वर्ल्ड, तो उसी हाल में हमें कंपनी बनाना है। हु शुड बी द कंपेनियन? द ऑलमाइटी। तो हम जब उस सोर्स ऑफ पावर, द वर्ल्ड ऑलमाइटी अथॉरिटी, परमात्मा, भगवान, जिनके लिए हम कभी भी ऐसे कोई अवस्था में गुजरते हैं तो अंदर से ही ये आता है ना, स्वर आता है, ओ गॉड, हे भगवान। तो जब हम परमात्मा के साथ हमारे संबंध को जुटा पाते हैं, जो कि सोर्स ऑफ पावर है, तो नेचुरली हमारे अंदर वो जो पावर है उसकी कंटिन्यूटी रहती है। सो मेडिटेशन is the tool, the best tool for enjoying the company of the Supreme, the Almighty. तो इसी हाल में हमारे जो इमोशनल स्टेट की बैलेंस के लिए हम कैसे भी तरीके से, कि हमें पहले तो अच्छी तरीके से कुछ ना कुछ ये परमात्मा संबंधित या पॉजिटिव एनर्जी को गैदर करने के कुछ ना कुछ सुनने का, जैसे कि जब हम ये न्यूज़ बार बार सुनते हैं, कोई भी ऐसे बार बार सुनते हैं, तो एक नेगेटिव एनर्जी हमारे घर में आ जाती है, हमारे मन तक पहुंच जाती है। तो पहले परमात्मा या कुछ भी पॉजिटिव, कोई कैसे भी कितनी सारी परिस्थितियों को गुजरते हुए अनेक ऐसे सिचुएशन है ऑलरेडी हो चुका है, लेकिन ये ऐसा एक सिचुएशन है जो सारा विश्व को अपने चपेट में लाया है। तो अ, इसको देखते हुए भी बहुत थोड़ा अंदर से घबरा जाते हैं। परंतु अगर हम ऐसी कोई घटना पढ़ते हैं, किसी की ऐसे गुजरे हुए समय की एक्सपीरियंसेस को पढ़ते हैं या सुनते हैं या देखते हैं, इंस्टेड ऑफ कंटिन्यूअसली लिसनिंग टू द न्यूज एंड ऐसे ही जो नेगेटिव न्यूज होता है, जो कि हमारे घर में या हमारे मन में नेगेटिव वातावरण क्रिएट करता है। परंतु हम अगर ऐसे पॉजिटिव न्यूज सुने या पॉजिटिव कुछ भी स्पिरिचुअल स्क्रिप्चर्स सुने, पढ़े, तो वो अंदर में एक पॉजिटिव एनर्जी देता है। तो हमें अपनी इमोशन की बैलेंस के लिए, अपनी आंतरिक स्थिति को कायम रखने के लिए ऐसे पॉजिटिव एनर्जी को कैसे कायम रखे या एनर्जी को संग्रह करे, इसके लिए प्रस्तुत रहना है, प्रस्तुति करना है। दूसरी, हमें उस सोर्स के साथ कैसे कनेक्टेड हो पाए। तो मेडिटेशन की जो प्रोसेस है, जो ऑलरेडी हर धर्म, हमारी जो इंडियन संस्कृति है, जो कि वो नेचुरल सिखाता ही रहता है। तो इसीलिए हम वो मेडिटेशन की जो प्रोसीजर, जो कि ब्रह्मा कुमारी में हम मेडिटेशन में पहले सेल्फ रियलाइजेशन करते हुए कुछ पॉजिटिव अफर्मेशन देते रहते, और उसके साथ हमारा जो इंटरनल एंड इटरनल कनेक्शन है विद द सुप्रीम एंड उनके साथ हमारी जो गहरी संबंध है, उसको महसूस करने के लिए हम कुछ न कुछ सजेशंस देते रहते हैं। तो दिन भर में जब हम उनके साथ हर तरीके से संबंध रखते हैं, ही इज माई फादर, ही इज माई पार्टनर, ही इज माई फ्रेंड, ही इज द सुप्रीम डॉक्टर, सुप्रीम सर्जन, द ऑलमाइटी अथॉरिटी इज माई फ्रेंड, and with that meditative steps, even we can enhance the mental power, and we can even have a very positive vibration surrounding us. I hope this is with the best. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Brahmakumari Durgesh, for your enlightening words. I would request Dr. Uh, Dr. Ritu Singh, who's from WHO. She's the National Program Officer, uh, and she will address the audience for stigma and discrimination during COVID 19 and how we can combat using medical advices and her expertise in the field. Over to you, Dr. Ritu. Dr. Ritu, you are on mute. Would request you to please go ahead. Dr. Ritu, am I audible?
I,
We sought the
just a suggestion. Perhaps you can take Lupa first. Maybe
yeah,
you can call Dr.
sure,
Ritu.
sure. Uh, we just sought the technical difficulties. Would now request Miss Lopa Mudra Tripathi, uh, who's working with UNICEF, to kindly address the topic of the role that faith leaders can play as catalysts of change and improving lives of women, especially with increasing violence against women. As she is working with the Odisha UNICEF team, would request her to kindly share her thoughts on the topic. Over to you, Ms. Lopa.
Thank you very much and good morning, everybody. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, perfectly. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. And it's such a pleasure to be amongst a completely serene group, I must say, people who are quiet and serene and respond to every situation, not like most of us do, but with a considered response of first thinking, feeling, experiencing, and then responding. I think that is the benefit of engaging with faith leaders, I must say. So I was just listening to Madam Durgesh Brahmakumari ji, and I thought that what she said was so important in the context of what we are discussing, because mm, we call they are partners. I don't consider them as, oh, we have this partnership with faith leaders. What I consider them as partners in the whole process. It is not like, okay, we will extend our program to the faith leaders also. No, they are a part of the communities, and I have seen from the experience that we have had in Odisha, we have had for the Puri Rath Yatra primarily. UNICEF went ahead to work uh, with the Hindu leaders from Puri, with the ISKCON. We also went and worked with basically all the mathas that are there in Puri, which are very, very critical in in the Rath Yatra and in all activities that are done in the Puri temple. So we worked very extensively with them for 2 years, and we got them into the process of talking to people about key issues like child labor and marriage, early marriage in children, and what happens if girls, or be it boys, are married off early, and how there is an importance, how it is important to talk to these people, and not only to the children but also to the parents, and how do we get the parents on our side to think like what we have, and for that we had a partnership with a particular NGO and who supported us in getting this training done to all the matha leaders and the seconds in the mathas. You know, they are the mathas are like basically like hostels. They are, I don't know if all of you know what a matha is in Odia, but it is a place of a religious congregation, but it is also a place where pious people come and stay. And what happens during the festivals is that if suppose a matha is like say Bagada Dharmashala, it's like a dharmashala where people come and stay, but it is also led by very very you know, godmen, or as we call them, the heads of the mathas are really brahmacharis who have who often talk to people, who give pravachans. And therefore if we thought that it is a great opportunity for us to actually discuss with all these different mathas that are there in Puri. We had worked with almost 40 mathas along with the district administration at that point of time, and we got all their heads to come together and think with us, basically to think with us about what is the importance of engaging with them, and how through our engagement with them we could reach out to the people who are going to come and stay in the matters. And it runs to it runs to thousands, actually forget about hundreds. It runs into thousands when it comes to the Rath Yatra and before the Rath Yatra, or for that matter the ISKCON, where where we engaged to discuss amongst them about the importance of child labor. And what we used to have, what normally happens during the Puri Rath Yatra, and this is a discussion that we already had with the district administration also, is the is about you know, child trafficking during that time, you know, where children are actually either stolen, or you know, they are, because parents are get so, and there is so much of crowd that parents actually forget, and sometimes child's hand slips out of their hands, and small children are picked up either for you know, for being trafficked. And this is one of the things that we knew, this information was with us when we took this suggestion or proposal to the district administration, and it was welcomed with with open arms. And they said that yes, we must work with the with the faith leaders, and let's not only work with you know, the more known, the Shankaracharya. We went and met with the Shankaracharya, and because the Shankaracharya's Matha also has a lot of people during the Rath Yatra. And I'm talking of one experience, and then I will go to another one. So we had this discussion. We also had a very very specific training. We also got the pandas, you know, the people who are engaged in actually the servitors within the Jagannath temple, and we got them to speak about what are the problems and issues that they face during the Rath Yatra, especially in relation to children and youth and the young adults. So they talked about many of the problems that they normally face, and we also got into training them, discussing with them. And over a period of 1.5 years, which happened in 2017-18, we actually managed to get a lot of people on our side to think like the way you know, to think about early marriage as a great deterrent in the life of a young girl, and what happens to a girl who gets married. Not only is she violated at a young age, but you know, the problems that she faces because of early marriage, early pregnancy, the pain of going through pregnancy at an age when she is probably mentally and physically not prepared to take on motherhood, and the problems of child labor, and how a child who is put into a dhaba, you know, is during this festival time, and how you know, um, how how unconcerned are we when we ask a little chotu to come and give us a cup of tea without even thinking that, that we couldn't imagine this for our own children. So I think, continuous engagement with them, or continuously talking to them, getting their views on how we can address this, I think that is the most important. And that is something that I also heard from Durgesh ji when she was speaking about it, that how do we actually engage? Because when people come to stay in these places of, when they completely in a mode of surrender, when they are completely in this mode of commitment and complete surrender to the Almighty, like miss like Durgesh ji was saying, uh, it is it is important that we also talk to them about the realities that they might face in a situation like this, like the Rath Yatra, where there are 8 lakh people coming annually. This year it was different, but when 8 lakh people are coming annually with children, hygiene is a major concern, where use of toilets, drinking safe water, taking care of their young children, it becomes such a major issue at that point of time, that it was a really great experience, because not only did we manage to get to so many people, like at least out of the 8 lakh people, we had a report of getting in touch with over 50,000 devotees who came during that time for the Rath Yatra in a period of 9 days, through the Matha leaders, who not only talked about hand hygiene and early marriage, but during their pravachans, during their discussions, they also interweaved what we were trying to tell them, and talked to the and it is not about the lives of women, because you cannot talk about lives of women without taking the men into consideration. The whole discourse was about how you respect humanity, how you respect human beings, and that is the way we started to engage this whole, the faith leaders into our programming. The second thing that we did was, and where we thought that it would be extremely important to get the faith leaders, was when we got into discussing with the diocese here, and when we in Bhubaneswar and in Cuttack, where we got in touch with the church, and we got the church head to actually come and take us to the most remote tribal areas. Because what happens is, so in the coastal areas and in these areas, we are talking about a particular kind of a problem, Rath Yatra, big event, 8 lakh people, and that is one kind of faith leader that we engage with. The second kind of faith leaders that we engaged with during our course is talking to the church leaders. And I must tell you that out of the 15 tribal dominated districts in Odisha, there are many which have a huge number of Christian population in the tribal communities. and
Super
uh,
sorry to
and it was
interrupt
important.
you. If you
Yes.
could wrap up the.
Yes.
Thank
So the second thing that we did was to actually talk to the church leaders, and go into very very difficult areas during the MR campaign, where we got to discuss with all the communities basically on their Sunday mass, talked to them, and similar to our strategy in Puri, we also got them trained in these issues, and had them to interweave our concerns into their discussions, and this was extremely good. And the third level that we did in the tribal communities were the traditional healers or the faith healers in the communities, which we call the Disaris or the Gunias, who are there in the tribal communities, who we worked with extensively on issues related to service provision, like be it immunization, be it antenatal care, because this was the only way we could talk about dealing with social norms that are there, the norms, the cultural practices within certain communities, which are so stringent and which are so difficult to change. It becomes extremely important that we take on various mediums and various methods to reach out to the communities with a convincing dialogue to change their understanding and also their you know the way of looking at problems. So thank you very much, and thank you for giving me this opportunity. I hope I was not too long, but I think it is important to also say that what are the challenges of taking it on practically, because after a point of time, apart from an interfaith alliance that we had a meeting with all the with all the leaders of different faiths. After that, it has been a challenge for us to take it forward. So I would like to conclude that, and I hope that with this we will be able to actually work more in an organized manner to take this agenda forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ms. Lopamudra Tripathi, for such a dynamic speech on role of faith leaders and how contextualizing it in the Odisha with Odisha examples and how faith leaders can intervene and play the role of catalyst in making a change and difference. With that, I would request Mr. Manish to take over the moderation with the faith leaders. Mr. Manish Lal, over to you, sir.
Hebziba, sorry, I think Dr. Ritu is here. If you can
Okay.
perhaps take her name.
Sure, sure. Just one second. Yeah, welcome, Dr. Ritu. Over to Dr. Ritu, who's the program officer at World Health Organization, requesting Dr. Ritu to address the plenary with her thoughts and advice. Over to you, Dr. Ritu.
Thank you very much. Am I audible, please?
Yes, ma'am, perfectly. Thank you.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much, and welcome to all the faith leaders who have joined us today. And thank you, Sphere India. Thanks also to Lopa and other colleagues from UNICEF who have been partnering with WHO on this particular pandemic response. Firstly, I'd like to very warmly welcome all the faith leaders who have joined us today. And as has been mentioned by previous speakers, your role is absolutely vital and critical as we move together to consolidate our fight against the COVID-19 response. So friends, as we know, this is a difficult and a very, very unprecedented time. Nobody had thought that, these are the times and days that we are going to be seeing, but this is the reality. And we also understand that as the world moves towards, finding better therapeutics and vaccination for COVID-19, until such time, what we have is only the social vaccine. And the precautionary behaviors that we all need to take is absolutely critical. And I think we need to remind everybody, and herein the role of faith leaders is absolutely critical as people move out, businesses and business activity picks up, congregations are still happening, various festivals keep happening around different states in our country. And I have a wonderful experience of working in the state of Odisha after Cyclone Fani. And I was there for a month, and we were part of the UN joint response team looking at, the disaster impact and recovery, and worked very closely with the State Department of Odisha at that time. So we know that the state has had several experiences in responding to various emergencies and is steadily putting up a great response and fight against COVID-19 as well. But we also know that together with the government response is also the response of the community. And therefore, community engagement and appropriate risk communication to the affected communities is absolutely critical. And we have noted that as the pandemic has evolved, so has the social reaction to the pandemic. Initially, in the initial days of the pandemic, we saw a lot of fear, a lot of uncertainty. People did not absolutely know the facts about this pandemic. So the fear was driving the response. And as days and months have gone by, now we are seeing the other end of the spectrum where many people think, okay, this disease is not going to affect me. I am a youth, I'll be able to fight it. My behavior does not influence or, so I can afford to be lax about the whole thing. So we are seeing both the ends of the spectrum. And I think it's really important for us to understand as a consolidated community that we have to make sure that this fight is only possible when everyone understands that they have a role to play. So that's the first message from our side today, that anybody can get affected with the disease. So everyone has to follow the due precautions all the time. And when we talk about COVID appropriate behaviors, we are talking about keeping the distance. We are talking about making sure that you still undertake travel or go out only when it's really necessary, curtail your visits, wear your face cover and face mask, especially when you are stepping out, and make sure that this is, we recommend reusable face masks, so make sure it's clean. It adequately covers your nose and your mouth. We often find that masks are dangling below the nose, or they do not adequately protect neither the user nor the person who may be close to the person who's wearing the mask. So follow due precautions, make sure that COVID appropriate behaviors are followed at all times. The second most important message is that we are seeing still ostracization against people who are getting affected with COVID, or people who are having to be on home care or home quarantine. This is a difficult time and we need more kindness, empathy, and compassion. So let us come together and join hands. And therefore, the role of faith leaders is very important, because you are the people whom others look up to. Your advice is followed. So please ensure that whenever you speak to your networks, whether it's through radio, television, your broadcast channels, whatever the medium may be, please talk about more kindness, helping each other, making sure that we are at a time we know that we really need to look out for others who may be in need. And we have seen that a lot of NGOs, civil society partners, influencers, faith-based leaders have joined and supported the government of India in this campaign, in this important endeavor, because we know that until and unless the whole of society gets involved, it cannot be just the business of the government alone. I think this was recognized very early on in the pandemic. And I recall the first meeting when Secretary Health was talking to us as partners, saying that I want everybody's engagement, and only then we'll be able to put up the fight. So that's the second message. Let's talk about kindness, compassion, empathy, caring for one another. The third and a very vital message that I have is that we are also seeing that not only is this a pandemic, this is also an infodemic. There's so much information coming in, and people blindly forward whatever information that they get on WhatsApp, some of the other social media groups, Facebooks, other channels, without even thinking whether it is actually correct in terms of facts. And as we move towards a vaccine, we will find that this factually incorrect information may also take roots. So this is what we have to stem. So what is the advice from our side? Check credible sources before you forward any such information. When we talk about credible sources, we mean the WHO websites, the Ministry of Health websites, UNICEF websites. So we know that these are the places where people can check for credible sources of information, do a fact check before you forward. So that's the third message. Let us stem the misinformation at its very roots. A lot of times people have forwarded information that was not correct. And we know that fake news in today's day and age spreads very fast. And that leads to further stigma and fear. That is what we want to avoid. The fourth message that I have is that let us celebrate the role of those who are working on the front line. Our healthcare providers, our doctors, our nurses, paramedical staff, ambulance drivers, police personnel, sanitation workers. These are the people who have kept this fight going when the country was under lockdown and everybody was safe inside their homes. These are the people who were still stepping out, putting their lives at risk, putting their health on the line. So what can we do? We need to really support and appreciate the role of these frontline providers, and at every given opportunity, we should be commending the important contribution that they are making in the fight against COVID-19 in our country and our state. So these are our corona warriors, and without these, we will not be able to fight this disease. We know that if anybody falls sick in our house, these are the people who are making sure that our families are safe, our people heal faster and come back home. So that's very important. So please stress the role of those on the front line and those who we know may be at a greater risk putting their own health on the line. One of the other important messages also that I have for you is that we are seeing the impact of the pandemic has been huge, and it has not only been on health, it has been on livelihoods, on the emotional health and mental health and other well-being of people. We find that those who are at higher risk for severe outcomes, the elderly, those with chronic diseases, kidney diseases, heart, lung, hypertension, these are the people we know who may be at more serious outcomes linked to the disease, and therefore they are more vulnerable in that sense. And we need to make sure that we keep our most vulnerable people of the society safe. So what can we do? What does the youth need to do? The youth needs to understand that their behavior will influence the health and safety of others who may be at greater risk within the household. So appeal to the youth of your state to come forward and join this fight. Make sure that they follow all the precautions, make sure that they are the ones who are stepping out if there is need to buy essentials, do groceries, do various things related to the household, and keep the most vulnerable protected and safe. So let us all understand that while certain sections of the society may be at greater risk of severe outcomes, how each person's role is critical to ensure that everyone is kept safe in the household. Those who are having to undergo home care and home quarantine, let us support them as much as possible. Make sure that you share the toll-free numbers of the Ministry of Health helpline numbers, which are available, 1075 and other state helpline numbers. There is also a mental health and emotional well-being support being provided by an agency called Nimhans Bangalore, which has been partnering hugely to ensure that anybody who needs that kind of support can be provided. We know that many people during this pandemic have also shown symptoms of depression, loneliness, despair. These are the people who may need additional support. So let us also support these individuals. And we are also finding that many of the young, the youth in our society are also going through some of these symptoms. So let us all recognize that, feelings of loneliness, despair, depression can happen at this time. And therefore, the role of faith leaders becomes absolutely imperative. Techniques such as yoga, mindfulness, prayers, we have seen that together with a good, healthy and balanced diet and whatever activity that you can do, keep yourselves active. That is also very important. It affects the immunity of an individual. So to the extent possible, make sure that you do not have an inactive lifestyle. Let us work on a holistic healthcare. We are talking about both physical health as well as mental health during this period. So ensure that everybody has that kind of support. So we need to support each other in the family. We also need to look out for each other. If anybody is having such symptoms, offer support, offer kindness, offer the support of the ministry helplines, which are also available, so that we are able to take care of one another during this period. As you know, our culture is very rooted in spirituality, religion, and cultural beliefs also influence the healthcare seeking behavior. So therefore, if anybody is having symptoms, must come forward and seek healthcare early. We are finding that sometimes people delay in seeking healthcare. Sometimes they have light, low grade fever. They think they're all right. They may have symptoms. They may delay seeking healthcare. So we are finding that if you delay in seeking healthcare, the outcomes of the disease may not be as optimal as could be if you seek healthcare early. So please also stress within your networks if somebody does have symptoms linked to coronavirus. Uh, we know that various symptoms such as fever, cough, loss of taste, smell. We know everyone I think knows the entire spectrum now, but what we are finding is still people think, what will my family say? What will the neighbors say? It's okay, I'll get better with a little paracetamol. I don't need to seek healthcare. But this is the kind of picture that we are seeing sometimes, and then suddenly somebody will land up with breathlessness and immediately needs to be shifted to the hospital. So keep track of your health, make sure that you follow all the precautions at all times, keep yourself safe, and if you do have symptoms, seek healthcare early. We are finding that the stigma is also being seen against those who are the community health workers, the ASHA, Anganwadi workers. Our perception surveys have also indicated that these people have also been subjected to stigma as they visit the households. They are trying to provide support and care to the affected families. So let us make sure that all those who are supporting the government response during this period, we do not ostracize against them, we support them in the work that they are doing. And only then will we be able to put up a very, very comprehensive, consolidated fight against COVID-19. So as the country prepares itself for the vaccines to come, I think it's very important that we as citizens partner with the government in this response so that we will be able to see the end of the pandemic, so to say. Of course, we do not know when that's going to happen, but we are optimistic about the scenario. We know that there are certain specific therapeutics that are being worked out, and hopefully we will be able to tide over this pandemic soon. So with these remarks, I'd like to close from my side and thank Sphere India, UNICEF, all the wonderful faith leaders. Please continue your good work, and let us all continue to motivate each other with the work that we are doing. I have also requested Sphere if the faith-based leaders can, at the end of this webinar, also indicate what are some of the 2 or 3 important action areas that they are going to take forward within their sphere, within their networks, and indicate to us what kind of further initiatives you are planning. Please reach out to Sphere and let us know, so that we will also understand and we'll share with the Ministry of Health that these are what the wonderful areas of work that our faith leaders are going to support. So be it TB, polio, leprosy, any disease, we have always counted on the support of the faith leaders. And today is again a time where we look to you for your support and guidance. So with that, I'd like to close. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ritu, for sharing very extensive medical advices with everyone. I'm sure that everyone will be able to take in a lot of the advices and the message that has come across to stay safe and stay healthy and be dutiful citizens. With that, I would request Mr. Manish Lal to take over the moderation along with the faith leaders, keeping in mind the time and also the knowledge and that comes across, and the topics that have been assigned. Over to Mr. Manish from World Vision. Thank you so much for being patient, Mr. Manish.
Thank you. हफ्सिबा जी, थैंक यू वेरी मच। मैं धन्यवाद देना चाहूँगा मिस लोपा जी का भी, डॉक्टर ऋतु का, और बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण जानकारियां उन्होंने हमें दी, और मुझे लगता है कि हमारे जितने भी पार्टिसिपेंट्स हैं उन्होंने इन बातों को सुना होगा। हम आगे बढ़ते हैं अपने कार्यक्रम में, और मैं इस समय इनवाइट करना चाहूँगा श्री सैयद बरकत अली तनवीर जी का, जो कि सचिव पद पर हैं, और वो उड़ीसा उर्दू सर्कल और मूल निवासी समता परिषद उड़ीसा के साथ एसोसिएटेड हैं। तो मैं उनको आमंत्रित करना चाहूंगा और उनका जो विषय है, जिस विषय पर आज हम सबसे बातचीत करना चाहेंगे, वो है फोकस नॉलेज एटीट्यूड्स एंड प्रैक्टिसेस कैन बी इम्प्रूव थ्रू कम्युनिटी अवेयरनेस। इस विषय पर हम हमसे बातचीत करेंगे। ओवर टू यू सर। सैयद जी, मिस्टर सैयद। Welcome, sir. Welcome, sir. Over to you, sir.
Good morning to all of you. May peace, blessings, mercy of God Almighty be upon all of you. Well, regarding this COVID, the stigma, what I have came to know about the subject, stigma during the COVID-19 situation.
क्षमा चाहता हूं सर आपको इंटरप्ट करने के लिए। सर आपकी आवाज क्लियर नहीं आ रही है, आप माइक के नजदीक आएंगे आप सर?
अभी क्लियर आ रही है?
यस सर, यस सर, यस सर।
अच्छा, तो ये just I wanted to tell that during this pandemic, we are every front leaders or whoever is in the front line, they are also part of the society. So what happens, they have got their own, preconception. So we faced being a social worker as well as a community leader, we faced many such situations where the influence on a patient who was there in a particular hospital for 2 years, but he was not admitted because of his faith. So at that time, there was a campaign going on in the media against, this Tablighi Jamaat. So at that time, what I found is that if all the faith leaders, we regularly have a meeting or interaction and send a message of, peace, brotherhood, and fellow feeling, this will have a good impact on the overall on the society. Because working as we are all staying in the same place, we have to face the situation unitedly, not singularly we cannot do anything. So individually we cannot fight the situation. If we face the situation unitedly, it will be easy for us. So it is necessary that to work in a particular place, we take, as other members have also told, to go to the field, action is there required. Well, whereas also we take the concerned people of different faiths and the common, local leaders, so that it will be easy for us to face the situation. Because in one incident in a village here in near Paradip, there is a restriction which everyone should obey, that there should not be large gatherings. Whatever may be the reasons, that it is a restriction is there for good. But in some places, people are so much religiously, what do you call that? They want to go to the mandir or to the masjid. So in one such place, what happened? There was more than the required number of people in the masjid. The police came, somebody complained, and they were arrested. Then they cited that in other gatherings are there, why you are not interfering? So the violence came to a problem. So in such cases, we should be patient, also obey the orders, accept the challenge, and follow the guidelines, so that we are able to tackle the situation easily. Instead of making it difficult for us, we should be face the situation in a united way, so that we can overcome the problems. See, that is not only, we came across such situations where people were dying of hunger because they were unable to go out, they were unable to earn. So that activities also we have done, and we have seen the situation. Mental, we have seen many people psychologically going down. They became patients, they went into depression. They were unable to face the situation, how to manage the family. So we found that mental problems, psychological problems. So in such situations, we think that we, as a faith leaders, or we can say the community leaders, we should join together and fight the situation. And another thing is that those people in such situations where they take up the issues, where they in fact doing something good, they spoil the situation in either through media or whatever it is, we should put some break on them, so that they should not dilute or poison the mind of the people and detract from the major work. So there are many action plans which can be done. We have faced some stigmas. Yeah, I think the time cannot permit to go in detail, but stigmas were there, and people were also discriminated. But if we fight as a whole, unitedly, we can face the situation very well. Thank you very much for giving me this time. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू। अपने विचारों को आपने हमें हमारे सामने व्यक्त किया और आपने जो रिकमेंडेशंस दी है उनके लिए भी बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। आगे बढ़ते हैं और मैं इनवाइट करना चाहूंगा श्री मनवीर सिंह जी का, जो कि उड़ीसा सिख प्रतिनिधि बोर्ड के साथ जुड़े हुए एसोसिएटेड हैं और वो एग्जीक्यूटिव मेंबर भी हैं गुरुद्वारा सिंह साहब भुवनेश्वर में। तो उनको हम इनवाइट करना चाहेंगे और उनका जो विषय है वो ये है कि टू प्रिवेंट रिलीजन बेस्ड डिस्क्रिमिनेशन एंड फॉलो द वैल्यूज ऑफ पीस एंड हार्मनी। तो किस तरह से हम शांति की बातों को लेकर, एकता की बातों को लेकर हम लोगों के बीच में जाएं, और जो लोगों के बीच में भेदभाव की भावना अभी उत्पन्न हो रही है या उत्पन्न हुई है कोविड के कारण, उसको हम कैसे दूर कर सकते हैं, उसमें हमारा क्या योगदान होगा। मैं इनवाइट करना चाहूंगा श्री मनवीर सिंह जी को।
हाँ जी, नमस्कार जी।
नमस्कार सर। नमस्कार। नमस्कार सर।
हाँ जी, हाँ जी। मैं डॉक्टर रितु जी को बहुत थैंक्स करना चाहूंगा। शी स्पोक वेरी वेल। रितु मैडम ने बहुत सारे पॉइंट्स जो मैंने सोचे थे बताऊंगा वो सारे कवर कर लिए, सो आई डोंट थिंक आई हैव गॉट मच टू से, बट एनीवे एक बात मैं आपको बताऊंगा कि जो इनिशियली हम लोग का जो लॉकडाउन पीरियड घोषित किया था गवर्नमेंट ने, तो इनिशियली जो 1.5 महीना के आसपास हमारा टोटल लॉकडाउन पीरियड था, टोटल लॉकडाउन जब था, तो हमने गुरुद्वारा साहिब से अपने भुवनेश्वर में करीब फ्रंटलाइन वर्कर्स और जो अपने पुअर पीपल हैं, जो लाइवलीहुड अपने नहीं कमा पा रहे थे, उनके लिए करीब 1500 आदमियों के लिए हमने लंच और डिनर पैक्ड हमने रोज एवरी डे की बेसिस पे हमने डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करवाया। गाड़ी आती थी गुरुद्वारे में और वो कुक्ड फूड और अनकुक्ड फूड भी हमसे लेके जाते थे। तो 1.5 महीने के आसपास वो हम एवरीडे बेसिस पे लेके गए और उन्होंने फ्रंटलाइन वर्कर्स को भी डिस्ट्रीब्यूट किया, जो फ्रंटलाइन वर्कर्स थे, और कोई पुअर पीपल जो कि अपनी लाइवलीहुड खो चुके थे उनको भी उन्होंने दिया। इवन भुवनेश्वर म्युनिसिपल कॉर्पोरेशन की गाड़ी आती थी और पुलिस कमिश्नर अपनी गाड़ी भेजते थे जो कि हमसे सारा सामान कलेक्ट करते थे। हम लोग डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन के लिए नहीं गए। तो ये हमने सर एक छोटा सा काम किया था। और बाकी सर ऐसा है कि देखिए हम लोग को एक पॉजिटिव एटीट्यूड तो सबको रखना ही पड़ेगा, बिकॉज एंड वी शुड बी वेरी केयरफुल नॉट टू स्प्रेड एनी मिस इन्फॉर्मेशन। सर मिस इन्फॉर्मेशन स्प्रेड करना, आई बिलीव इट्स अ क्राइम। रादर वी शुड स्पीक टू पीपल regarding the positive side of this, that how many people got well, how many people came out after the infection. So we should be very positive, and we should stop stigmatizing, or we should start empathizing, in fact. बाकी और क्या बोल सकता हूँ सर, बाकी यही है कि फेक न्यूज को हम लोग को नहीं सुनना चाहिए, और डिजीज के बारे में तो फेक न्यूज बिल्कुल भी बोलना गलत हो जाएगा। और हम लोग को बल्कि वी शुड डिस्कस अबाउट द ट्रीटमेंट ऑफ कोविड इंस्टेड ऑफ talking about the false news. We should discuss about the treatment of COVID. We should discuss about the prevention of the disease, discuss about the people, friends who have recovered from COVID. यही सब हम लोग को करना चाहिए. और बाकी सर ऐसा है कि gurdwaras in and temples in Odisha have not opened. We are not having any congregation there because the religious institutions are still closed in Odisha. They are not allowed. But still, we from the management side, we go to the gurdwaras, and because of few people of us who have to manage the gurdwaras, we have got 3 hearse vans there, which we have to manage. We have got 4 freezers, deep freezers for dead bodies, which we keep and give free of cost. The hearse vans also from the Bhubaneswar Gurdwara go to the people, to the needy, whoever requires them. They go totally free of cost, sir. No, we don't charge any money. Even people from Bhubaneswar, they take their dear ones for the cremation in Puri. That is about 60 kilometers from here. But still, we do not charge any money. We send them free of cost. Our hearse vans go free of cost. See, on whatever little we can do for the society, I believe it is a duty of each and every person to do their bit. Anything that could benefit the society, we should always be in the front line, sir. That's what I believe. And thanks a lot for giving me the opportunity to speak to you people for this August gathering. I'm really very grateful to the organizations to have given me this opportunity. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Manveer Singh ji. Sahni ji, thank you, Manveer Sahni ji. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for reminding all of us that we should not spread false news. We should not spread such messages which can create problem and disharmony among the community. And we should always talk about treatment. We should talk about something which is good and positive and which can benefit the lives of people. Thank you, sir. अपने विचारों को रखा. And thank you for giving your precious time for this interfaith meeting, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Thank you.
साथियों, हम लोग आगे बढ़ते हैं और इस समय मैं आमंत्रित करना चाहूंगा हमारे बीच में प्रोफेसर शशिकांत पनिगरी जी हैं, जो कि एसोसिएट प्रोफेसर और हेड ऑफ पाही चेयर इन डेवलपमेंट दिल्ली आलिया यूनिवर्सिटी इंदौर के साथ एसोसिएटेड हैं. और जो विषय पर वो आज हमसे बातचीत करेंगे वो है प्रोएक्टिव रोल प्लेड बाय मेन एंड फैमिलीज इन कर्बिंग डिस्क्रिमिनेशंस अगेंस्ट वुमेन एंड अदर कम्युनिटीज. तो इस विषय के ऊपर वो हमसे बातचीत करेंगे. तो मैं सर को आमंत्रित करना चाहूंगा. ओवर टू यू प्रोफेसर साहब.
Thank you very much. I hope I am audible.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Respected host organization, the Sphere India, and wonderful representatives of various faiths representing religions of India, of the world. As one of the presenters very nicely said, as partners. And in the same vein, I would like to add also by addressing all of you as co-workers. Thank you very much for this opportunity and this very rare privilege. My topic is, it got changed again and again. Anyway, this is how I have recorded it. Violence against women during pandemic to be addressed through unique educational courses in homes and in families. By now, having listened to various enlightening topics on various themes, one of the most heinous and utterly despicable, which is a discrimination against women in its various dreaded forms, especially during this very trying time in homes, in remote villages, in quarantine centers, in hospitals, and in health centers, where nurses and lady health workers and lady doctors are in the forefront, the topic, I'm sure, is of utmost importance. We have come to learn that systematic and structural injustice continues to suppress women's potential, plunging humanity into crisis after crisis. For any heart that is sensitive to the pain of others, happenings in the past month and a few weeks before that in India was this would have brought much of us to sorrow and to lot of pain. Any sensitive soul who has listened to it at a time when escalating public health crisis and the economic downturn because of COVID-19, when it was already plaguing us, this this tragedy in Hathras in Uttar Pradesh, it must have seared everyone's soul. The young woman belonging to a caste which languishes at the bottom of India's harsh caste hierarchy. This was a painful experience for all of us. The extreme brutality with which she was assaulted, the agony, humiliation, the utter indignities she and her family had to go through and endure over the next many days in the pursuit of their medical treatment. I think uh, there is no need to describe it any further, as channels after channels, television channels, went on describing this harrowing thing in detail. This was just a case study, just to wake us up that during this kind of a time, and it has happened in many dreaded forms, as I told. Uh, but this is something I think we should all sit up and take notice of. But then I'm not going to describe these specific cases and incidents with such harrowing details. Uh, Rather, uh, as a Baha'i, as a servant of the faith, uh, I will just try to highlight that what could be the panacea, what could be one of the remedies, what could be a very humble approach by which we could, redress, if not totally, weed it out. Until these inequalities are thoroughly uprooted from the fabric of society, because this is a fact, and we all should try to think about it, that until this is totally uprooted, humanity will remain mired in the conflict, despair, confusion, and imbalance that have come to define much of our modern life. Apart from the degrading path of barbarism and sadistic savagery that we are steadily plunging ourselves in. Now, Baha'i writings are very clear on this subject, so much so that one of the cardinal principles of the faith is on equality between men and women. This is the age of women, says one of the writings. Humanity is like a bird with two equal wings, men and women, says another. And it is by using both wings, humanity can soar above to the firmament of prosperity. But is it so simple to achieve this? In order to achieve this, the faith employs the tools of education with curriculum of universal value system. Those are imparted from a very early age through Baha'i classes for children, through junior youth empowerment programs, and in hundreds of study circles for adults all across the state of Odisha, in addition to another core activity that is going on in Odisha, in India, and world over. That is, organizing devotional meetings in every neighborhood. During the Actually, this has increased during the lockdown days of Corona. These value-oriented classes, they have multiplied tremendously because being forced to stay indoors, seeking and searching souls have been attracted to learning new, noble, and soul uplifting things. These educational systems around very well researched and well developed sequence of studies go on to explore how new and more value oriented educational system which address such imbalance at an early age can help rectify the inequalities that exist between women and men and to create a more prosperous system required for the new world order of Baha'u'llah, a new unique blueprint of a world commonwealth that is being taught from an early age in the households especially. For oneness of humanity is the pivot around which uh, most of the principles of the faith revolve, and I'm sure most of the affairs of humanity should revolve. And within this, I think this concept or this theme of equality between men and women should be tried, should be attempted to be understood, to be internalized, and this theme should not be only walked. I think we have to walk the talk. Another Baha'i principle that is being championed in Baha'i homes and in clusters of families, again through well-developed curricula. And all this entering into the educational study curriculum through sequence of courses, and that is the principle of consultation, where women are being encouraged to participate in family consultations. Even in very traditional homes, here in Odisha, in those households where women used to remain within Gungat and didn't have any say in other affairs of family, apart from cooking, doing household works, rearing children, etc., are now putting forward their views with a sense of honor and equal rights. Gradually, the men folks, the male children, and youths of the household, because of these educational courses known as Ruhi courses of study, are also changing their mindset, both out of born out of the oneness of mankind, of which women are equal partners in every era. And believe me, this has gained remarkable momentum during the time of this dreaded pandemic, as it has given rise to an attraction to learning. So these are the humble approaches, and these are the simple methods through Zoom session, through conference calls. Even now, when things have eased out a little, some of the children classes and devotional meetings and junior youth empowerment programs, they are happening in some households who can host them, and this is really attracting the minds and the hearts of the elders, even of the politicians, even of the persons during the severe days of the lockdown, when people were actually, now many of us have spoken about distributing relief and things like that, but this is the kind of the relief these study courses, these innovative courses, which not only uplifted the souls, but showed the society wonderful, novel ways in trying to understand the problem through creative words of God, to ruminate over it, to meditate upon it, and then to come closer in trying to eradicate it. Even in villages, in towns, people started discussing about it. This has been a wonderful kind of a approach. Things had all shut down, but then these educational courses, very humbly speaking, when I'm telling that of the Baha'is, I'm not trying to take any pride and glory, but then actually this was when we went through the statistics, we found out that our devotional, meetings, gatherings, Baha'i classes for children with these kind of inputs, with these kind of text materials, especially on the unity of mankind, that also presupposes the equality between men and women and things like that. We found the numbers have grown tremendously, largely. With
Professor
this,
Dr. Panigrahi, sorry to interrupt you. If you could sum up your
I was. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Saab. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your time, sir. Thank you.
Thank you for your patience.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. फ्रेंड्स, हम लोग अपने इसी विषय में हम लोग अपनी चर्चा को जारी रखते हैं, और जो जिन बातों को हमने डॉक्टर साहब की ओर से सुना, मैं आशा करता हूं कि आपने उन बातों को नोट डाउन किया होगा। बहुत सारी बातें उन्होंने कही कि किस प्रकार से बाहई कम्युनिटी की तरफ से और लोगों की मदद की गई, और किस प्रकार से बाहई फेथ हमें एनकरेज करता है, हमें मोटिवेट करता है कि हम लोगों तक जो ज़रूरत की बातें हैं, जो उनकी मदद की बातें, उन तक हम लेके जा सकें। और साथ ही साथ हमें ध्यान देने की ज़रूरत है कि ये जो भेदभाव है, खासकर महिलाओं को लेकर, महिलाओं के प्रति जो हमारी सोच है, उसमें भी परिवर्तन लाने की हमें क्यों आवश्यकता है। सो थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू वेरी मच, थैंक यू वेरी मच। हम अपने प्लेनरी सेशन में आगे बढ़ते हैं, और इस समय मैं निवेदन करना चाहूंगा वेनरेबल भांते मितानंदा जी से, जो कि बुद्धिस्ट हैं, बुद्धिस्ट मॉन्क हैं, कलिंगा बौद्ध महासंघ ट्रस्ट उड़ीसा के साथ जुड़े हुए हैं, और उनका जो विषय है वो है टू सीक काउंसलिंग एंड सपोर्ट टू अफेक्टेड पॉपुलेशंस। कैसे हम लोग काउंसलिंग के द्वारा लोगों तक जो खासकर इस कोविड-19 से ग्रसित हुए हैं, उन तक हम किस प्रकार से काउंसलिंग के द्वारा पहुंच सकते हैं और उनकी मदद कर सकते हैं। तो मैं निवेदन करूंगा वेनरेबल भांते मितानंदा जी से, आप अगर आप तक मेरी आवाज पहुंच रही है तो आप।
जी
ओके सर, ओवर टू यू सर।
सभी को नमस्कार। मेरा आवाज आ रही है क्या?
हाँ सर, आ रहा है। नमस्ते सर, नमस्ते, आपकी आवाज आ रही है सर।
बहुत एक अच्छी प्रयास है, सब लोगों ने अपने अपने विचार रखे हैं, और ये सही में एक कलेक्टिव एफर्ट है। ये कोई इंडिविजुअल एफर्ट से, जिस प्रकार की दुर्गति से, जिस प्रकार की स्थिति से हम लोग गुजर रहे हैं, इस स्थिति से मुक्त होना, इस स्थिति से मुक्त पाना, ये कोई सिंगल हैंडेड का काम नहीं है। लेकिन मैं यहाँ पर और एक बात कहना चाहता हूँ कि इससे पहले भी, ये आज की समस्या नहीं है हमारे देश में या हमारे समाज में, यहाँ पर बहुत युगों से, मतलब बहुत सदियों से हम लोग कई बीमारियों से त्रस्त है। यानी बीमारी, आज हम बहुत जागरूक हो गए हैं, आज सब लोग इंटरकनेक्टेड हो गए हैं, टेक्नोलॉजी काफी डेवलप किया गया है, मतलब हो गया है, जिसकी वजह से हम एक दूसरे से जुड़ पाते हैं, अपने विचार को बहुत दूर तक फैला सकते हैं। लेकिन एक समय ऐसा था जहाँ पर हम लोग अपने विचार को फैला नहीं पा रहे थे, अपने एक दूसरे को हम ये नहीं कर, तब भी जो बीमार था, जिसका नाम है कि कई तरह की बीमार, छुआछूत जो है, ये बहुत बड़ी सोशल स्टिग्मा है, और जो स्टिग्मा आज नहीं है, ये बहुत पहले से मतलब हमारे दिल में बसा हुआ है। और विशेष करके अपने गांव के एरिया में हो या शहर के एरिया में हो, पढ़े लिखे लोग हो या अनपढ़ हो, सभी के अंदर में ये जो है एक स्टिग्मा बन करके बैठ गई है, और जिसके हट करके हमारे अंदर में एक फ्री थिंकिंग डेवलप करना बहुत ही जरूरत है। और आज उसका परिणाम हम भुगत रहे हैं कि हमारे अंदर में जिस प्रकार की एक जो भेदभाव की जो मानसिकता जो पहले से एक रोग बन करके, ये जो बीमार बन करके पहले से आ चुका था, तो ये हमारे समाज में अभी भी बलवत्तर है। तो अभी हम लोग मैं जापान में जब रहता था तो जापान में देखा कि उन लोगों ने काफी नेचुरल कैलेमिटीज बोलो, डिजास्टर बोलो, उसको काफी फेस करते हैं, प्राकृतिक आपदा से काफी फेस करते हैं वो लोग। तो वो अपने आप को कैसे तैयार करते हैं, मैंने वहां पर जैसे स्टडी किया कि उसके वहां पर मैं देखा कि हमारा सबसे ज्यादा बेस है एजुकेशन, क्योंकि हमारे एजुकेशन में ही सारे की है। बिकॉज हम लोग ये कह सकते हैं कि स्कूल इज द फ्यूचर ऑफ नेशन। जो स्कूल से ही जो वो भी मैं कहता हूँ प्राइमरी एजुकेशन, जिस समय हम अपने व्यक्तित्व जो बना रहे होते, उस समय अगर हमने अपने जो ये जो चिकुड़ापन या फिर जो बहुत ही संकुचित मनोभाव अगर हम लोग अपने मन से निकाल करके ये मन को पूरा ग्रोथ करें या फिर फ्री माइंड जो फ्री थिंकिंग डेवलप करें, ताकि ये मतलब आगे जाकर के बहुत अच्छा हो सकता है। तो इसीलिए हमने मैं बहुत शुरू से 2015 से जब जापान से आने के बाद यहाँ पर एक स्कूल का स्टार्ट किया, और बचपन बच्चों में ही ये हाइजीनिक वो बोथ फिजिकल एंड मेंटल दोनों की हाइजीनिक के बारे में यहाँ पर लोगों को जागरूक करने के लिए बच्चों को लिया। 5 से लेकर के 15 साल के बच्चे तक, इसका नाम दिया हम सद्धम्म पाठशाला नाम दिया। और जो सिर्फ संडे को ही मतलब 2 घंटे के लिए हम बच्चों को ट्रेन किया कि हाउ टू क्लीन देयर हैंड, हाउ टू मतलब जो मेंटेन द हाइजीनिक हैबिट। क्योंकि ये जो हाइजीनिक है, ये जो हैबिट, ये सिर्फ हैबिट है। क्योंकि हम सब समझते हैं, इंटेलेक्चुअली बहुत कुछ समझते हैं कि रात में ब्रश करना ही चाहिए, लेकिन हम लोगों से ज्यादातर लोग हम ब्रश नहीं करते। इसलिए नहीं करते कि हाँ मतलब हैबिट नहीं है। समझना, बौद्धिक स्तर पर समझना ये एक अलग बात हो जाती है, और एक अभ्यास या आदत बन जाना ये अलग बात हो जाती है। तो इसीलिए हमारे जो समाज में जो एक सुस्त विचार की आदत नहीं पड़ी है, और एक सुस्त विचार की हम लोग बहुत ही विचार करते हैं। मानसिक तौर पर हम सब कुछ समझ गए हैं, बौद्धिक स्तर पर हम तो समझ गए हैं, लेकिन हमारे जो आदत है वो अभी तक सुधरा नहीं है, जिसकी वजह से ये आदत को सुधराना इतना आसान नहीं है। वो फिर जब जैसे मान लीजिए कि जैसे गवर्नमेंट ने इस कोविड-19 के समय में, कोरोना वायरस में जिस प्रकार की जो दिए थे, जो नियम किए थे कि जो फिजिकल डिस्टेंसिंग, मैंने तो ये सोशल डिस्टेंसिंग के बाद तो सोशल डिस्टेंसिंग जो शब्द है, इसका मैं विरोध करता हूँ। इसको मैं नहीं मानता, क्योंकि सोशल डिस्टेंसिंग मतलब सामाजिक दूरता नहीं है, ये एक हाइजीनिक डिस्टेंस है, फिजिकल डिस्टेंस, शारीरिक दूरता बजाय रखना चाहिए। तो लेकिन हम सब लोग सोशल डिस्टेंसिंग शब्द को ज्यादा से ज्यादा यूज करते हैं। मुझे नहीं मालूम कि ये शब्द कितना प्रासंगिक है, खैर। लेकिन वो जो उसके बाद जो है कि हमने वो सद्धम्म पाठशाला जो नाम दी है, वो बच्चों लोग जो है वो जगह जगह पर लोगों को काउंसिल किए, मतलब लोगों को समझाए, और अपने घर में भी वो अपने जो परिवार में समझाए, और अपने परिवार के जो हाइजीनिक जो माहौल है उसको उन्होंने चेंज किए। क्योंकि हम देखते हैं कि एक लर्निंग एपिटाइट होता है, जो बड़े हो जाते हैं, जो 20 साल से ऊपर हो जाते हैं, उनके लर्निंग एपिटाइट इतना ज्यादा नहीं होता, जिसकी वजह से उनका जो एज भी एक बैरियर होता है, और जिसकी वजह से वो ज्यादा सुनते नहीं है। और उनको हम जितना भी समझाएंगे तो वो फिर अपने जो फॉल्ट को जस्टिफाई करना शुरू कर देते हैं। हमारे समाज का ये एक बहुत बड़ी जरूरत है, ये सबसे बड़ी बीमारी है कि हम अपने फॉल्ट को जस्टिफाई करना शुरू करते हैं, और जिसकी वजह से हम लड़ना शुरू कर लेते हैं। यहाँ पे जब हम लड़ भी जाते हैं कि अपने फॉल्ट को जस्टिफाई करने के लिए, तो ये गलत है। तो इस प्रकार की जो बहुत सारे समस्या है, तो जिसके वजह से आज की जो स्थिति है कि मतलब पुलिस जबरदस्त लोगों के ऊपर मतलब एक रूल अप्लाई करना पड़ा कि लोगों के लिए कर रहे हैं, लोगों के हाइजीन के लिए, लोगों की सुरक्षा लिए कर रहे हैं, लेकिन लोग खुद समझ नहीं पा रहे हैं। तो इंटेलेक्चुअली हम समझ रहे हैं, लेकिन हम लोग का हैबिट नहीं है। तो हम लोगों ने जो तथागत सम्यक संबुद्ध को ऐसे भी कहा जाता है कि उन्होंने जो है दुख मुक्ति की संदेश देते हैं। दुख यानी जो हमारे सारे जो फिजिकल हो, मेंटल हो, स्पिरिचुअल हो, किसी भी प्रकार की जो समस्या है, उस समस्या से विमुक्त होना या मुक्त होना, ये एक्चुअली बुद्ध के संदेश था। तो इस संदेश को लेकर के हमने वो जो एक बचपन से मतलब जो लर्निंग एपिटाइट जो जिस समय ज्यादा होता है, इस समय से हमने उन लोगों के अंदर में जो स्टिग्मा है कि अनहाइजीनिक हैबिट हो गया, अनहाइजीनिक थॉट हो गया, अनहाइजीनिक विचार जो है, मतलब अस्वस्थ विचार, रोगना विचार जो है, ये सारे विचारों को नष्ट करके कैसे उनके अंदर में एक शुद्ध विचार मतलब स्थापन किया जाए, इसके ऊपर हमने मतलब क्लासेस लिए। और ये राउरकेला में पहले हम स्टार्ट किए, ओडिशा का एक राउरकेला एक जगह है जहाँ पर हमने मतलब एक पेड़ के नीचे ही स्टार्ट किए। उसके बाद एक क्लब घर हमको मिला तो वहां पर स्टार्ट किए। और अभी इस पेंडेमिक में ये जो कोरोना वायरस के समय में जितने इफेक्टेड थे लोगों को, जब खाने होने की जो प्रॉब्लम होगी, जो मतलब मजदूर करने वाले लोग, जो मजदूर करना मतलब काम नहीं मिला, तो वहां पर यही बच्चे लोग मतलब और उनके जो अभिभावक लोग हैं वो पैकेज बना करके, खाना और पैकेज बना करके लोगों को बांटना शुरू किए। तो मेरे कहने का ये मतलब है कि ठीक है, आज की समस्या है, आज हम लोग जागरूक है क्योंकि आज हमारे पास टेक्नोलॉजी है, आज हमारे पास बहुत कुछ साधन है, आज हमारे पास एक अवेयरनेस भी आ गया है, इसीलिए हमको आज की समस्या काफी दिखाई देता है। लेकिन ये समस्या, इसको भी समाधान करना जरूरी है। लेकिन हमारे अंदर में जो सामाजिक जो स्टिग्मा है, जो सोशल स्टिग्मा है लोगों के अंदर में, ये ऊंच है, ये नीच है, ये मतलब जैसे मान लीजिए कि जो साफ सुथरा करने वाला को उसको हम नीच मानते हैं। तो इस प्रकार की जो है जो बहुत नैरो माइंड जो है, और इस प्रकार की जो थॉट है, इस थॉट का ये सबसे बड़ी बीमारी है। और ये बीमारी को भी हमको हटाना चाहिए और साथ में ये बीमारी को भी हमको मतलब दुरुस्त करना चाहिए और सभी को हमने रोग मुक्त करना चाहिए। तो इसीलिए हमारे जो प्रोसेस होते हैं, 3 प्रोसेस होते हैं कि एक हेल्दी पर्सन इसको कहते हैं, मतलब फिजिकली फिट, मेंटली डेवलप एंड स्पिरिचुअली एलिवेटेड। ये उनका डेफिनेशन माना जाता है। ये फिजिकली फिट होना चाहिए, यानी शारीरिक तौर पर किसी भी प्रकार की रोग से दूर होना चाहिए, शारीरिक तौर पर किसी बीमारी से दूर होना चाहिए और सुस्त होना चाहिए शारीरिक तौर पर। लेकिन सिर्फ शारीरिक तौर पर जो सुस्त होने से भी काम नहीं चलेगा, तो मेंटली फिट डेवलप, यानी मानसिक तौर पर, जो वैचारिक तौर पर भी वो सुस्त होना चाहिए। और हमने सिर्फ शारीरिक तौर पर जो है सुस्तता के बारे में या शारीरिक रोग के बारे में अगर चर्चा करेंगे तो हम पूरे सुस्त नहीं हो पाएंगे। तो इसीलिए हम लोग शारीरिक सुस्तता के बारे में तो चर्चा करना ही चाहिए। और हमारे जो फिजिकल जितने भी जो गाइडलाइन है, ये सबसे हम लोग को मतलब मानना चाहिए और अपने आप को सुस्त रखना चाहिए। साथ में हम लोग मन की सुस्तता के बारे में, मन की रोग से कैसे हम मुक्त होंगे, और इसके ऊपर भी हम लोग को चर्चा करना चाहिए। और उसी से हम जो है पूरे सोसाइटी के जो एक स्टिग्मा होता है, सोसाइटी के जो एक बहुत बड़ी अंधविश्वास जो मतलब एक ऐसा होता है, जड़पन होता है, तो इस जड़ता को हम खत्म कर सकते हैं। और इसके लिए ये तो सिंगल हैंडेड काम नहीं है, ये सभी जितने भी फेथ लीडर होते हैं, तो ये सभी फेथ लीडर में तो एक अच्छा अपॉर्चुनिटी आपने जो ऑर्गेनाइजर जो किए हैं उनको मैं बहुत ही धन्यवाद देना चाहता हूँ कि इस प्रकार के एक अवसर बनाए हैं। तो इस अवसर पर ये रोज हर रेगुलरली हम सब लोग मिलना चाहिए एक आपस में। और एक फेथ लीडर के हमारे देश की एक सबसे बड़ी बहुत अच्छी बात यह है कि आपने फेथ लीडर को, जैसे रितु जी ने बोले और जो भी पहले से भी जो वक्ता बोले,
Venerable Metananda, sorry to interrupt. If you can conclude your.
तो इसीलिए वो हम लोग का मैं कंक्लूड करना चाहता हूँ कि हम लोग जो है सब मिल करके मतलब कलेक्टिवली हम उनको ये समस्या को मतलब समाधान करने की कोशिश करें। और मैं एजुकेशन में ही मतलब हम लोग हाइजीनिक का एक पार्ट रखना चाहता हूँ, मतलब हाइजीन के बारे में। तो ये मेरा मतलब जो बुद्ध धर्म की और हमारे जो सोसाइटी की प्रोजेक्ट है। धन्यवाद, थैंक यू।
धन्यवाद सर, धन्यवाद, शुक्रिया आपके रिकमेंडेशंस का। थैंक यू वेरी मच। आपने 3 बातें कही और मैं आशा करता हूं हमारे जो पार्टिसिपेंट्स इन तीनों बातों को बड़े ध्यान से सुने होंगे और समझे होंगे और इस पर चिंतन करेंगे और इसे अपने व्यक्तिगत जीवन में लागू भी करेंगे। धन्यवाद, बहुत खास जानकारी हमारे साथ शेयर करने के लिए। आगे बढ़ते हैं और अब हम इनवाइट करना चाहेंगे रेवरेंड आनंद जी को, जो कि चर्च ऑफ नॉर्थ इंडिया डायसिस ऑफ संबलपुर के साथ एसोसिएटेड है, उड़ीसा। और उनका जो विषय है वो है एड्रेसिंग इश्यूज ऑफ ग्रोइंग एलिनेशन, वायलेंस अगेंस्ट वल्नरेबल ग्रुप्स एंड द रोल ऑफ फेथ ग्रुप्स कैन प्ले। खासकर उन वर्गों के लिए जो बहुत निम्नित हैं या कहें बुजुर्ग लोग, उस वर्ग के साथ या उस वर्ग के लिए हमारा क्या एक रोल है, धर्मगुरुओं का क्या रोल है, कैसे इस वर्ग के लोगों को हम उठा सकते हैं, इनके बीच में अपनी मदद हम पहुंचा सकते हैं और इनके बीच में अपनी सेवाओं को हम दे सकते हैं। तो इस विषय पर वो हमसे बातचीत करेंगे। ओवर टू यू रेवरेंड आनंद जी, ओवर टू यू सर।
थैंक यू मनीष लाल। Thank you very much for giving me this wonderful opportunity. Am I audible?
जी जी
Hello.
यस 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 आप ऑडिबल हैं सर.
Thank you very much, sir. So first of all, I greet from my church, Diocese of Sambalpur, and the Church of North India. So especially, I give thanks for the prominent faith leaders who are with us in this program. Also, I give my thanks to UNICEF, WHO, World Vision India, and especially hosting the program, Sphere India. So without wasting my time, your time, I will just address in this in my point. Especially, first of all, I would like to share a few experiences, 2 or 3 experiences which I faced as a pastor, pastoring my congregation. Recently, an elderly woman died in COVID-19. After 2 days, burial was possible. Now, her husband, an elderly man, also infected, and he is not aware of the death of his wife. Now, he is asking and inquiring about his wife, about the condition of his wife. Doctor has advised us not to share about the death of his wife because the gentleman also, he is a heart patient. Now, as a church, we are not able to go to their family. Now, as a church, we are not at the condition to offer a burial prayer before the gentleman. So this is the case of social distancing in this time of COVID-19. We could not visit this bereaved family. We could not perform any prayer. We could not attend him for counseling. So this is the condition of our congregation these days. There are so many people are suffering, but this is one of the example I'm sharing with you. As a Christian point of view, truly speaking, the Christian church is most affected in than other. Why? Because our every rituals are performed with fellowship, assembled together, praying together as a congregation, singing together as a congregation, listening the word of God as a congregation, sharing witness together, especially taking part with Holy Communion as the body of Christ. The most worst historical time in the Christian history. So it is not a family or individual religious participation or performance, but we join together as a congregation in the church to worship. Now, nearly 7 to 8 months, it is not possible at all. We are not able to participate in the people with the people in the time of their sorrow, as well as in the time of their sadness, in the time of their loss, in the time of their bereavement. Although, as a humanitarian concern, we have extended few social work like distributing dry foods, soaps, sanitizers, distributing masks, over phone, counseling to the people who are in quarantine. Still then, we are alienated from each other at the time of sorrow, sadness, and bereavement. Also at the time of some joyous occasion, like engagement, marriage, there is no more joy, no more celebration, no more full participation. The result of visiting each other is from both sides. The reluctance of visiting each other is from both sides. everyone is concerned, everyone is conscious. And this should be also, surely, we should maintain the distance. No doubt, social distancing helping us, keeping us physically safe and sound, but in words affecting gradually in social life, in religious life, in family life. One more example I would like to share with you. We have few organizations. One of the director asked me recently, one of the institutions asked me for counseling one of their workers taking alcohol regularly. I am counseling him, but both are conscious of the COVID-19 guideline and the distancing. If I will not do properly my counseling, if I will not meet with him regularly, directly, he will lose his job, issue of unemployment, the family will destroy, it's a issue of family conflict, the institution will lose a good their worker, and the religious life will will spoil definitely. So directly or indirectly, everyone is facing the same problem. I would like to suggest uh, some of from my personal experience, like let us have a heart of realizing the belongingness as a faith leaders, as we are the faith leaders and the leaders of the organizations. Let's have a heart of realization of belongingness, maintaining a relationship of one body, overcoming the boundary of caste, class, and religion. That relation should be maintained and definitely established for our common struggle. Secondly, empowering moral, mental strength of our congregation. Empowering moral and mental strength of our congregation, of our fellow believers. By online preaching and teaching, and by web seminar, surely these days we are not able to meet with each other. We are having online programs, counseling, preaching, teaching, etc. Apart from encouraging people from maintaining COVID-19 guideline, rules, and regulations, it is the duty of the faith leaders to prepare and strengthen their own congregation, balancing them morally and spiritually. Comfort them with the attitude of accepting the reality humbly. These days, the theme of my preaching, as I am performing online worship service, and I am having regularly the similar topics like a faith that can transform weakness, a faith that can transform weakness, strength in my weakness, like the topic, a faith that can heal illness. Thirdly, local faith leaders relationship. I'm stressing this point because if as a local people, local leaders will not assemble together, will not communicate with each other, we cannot. The impact of COVID-19 is not upon certain group. The impact is not upon on certain religion or certain race. It affected whole humanity. So It is the combined fight of humanity. It is a combined fight of humanity against this pandemic. Then only we can win, and that is sure. So many suggestions we are having. We have been listening. I humbly conclude with a few lines that let us be united for common goal. Let us be combined with each other with a common goal. My weakness should cause me as valuable as value others. One of the quotation I'm mentioning here, that my weakness should cause me to value others. My weakness should cause me to value others. And surely I mentioned one of the verse from Bible, that is from 1 Corinthians 12:22. That is, but the member of the body that appear to be weaker are essential. But the member of the body that appear to be weaker are essential. आजकल हम जो सफाई कर्मचारी हैं और अनेक जगह में इनको पिछड़े वर्ग बोला जाता है, लेकिन आज इनका जरूरत सबसे ज्यादा है। वो फ्रंट लाइन में है हमारे साथ, हमारे स्ट्रगल में। सो माय वीकनेस, माय वीक पीपल should cause me value others. My weakness should cause me value others. The people who are involved in cleaning, sanitizing, this vulnerable group is now the frontline COVID fighter. They were with the minimum recognition. They were with the minimum recognition. Now this group are more important and essential in this struggle. Then my weakness should give me a ministry. My weakness should give me a ministry.
Sorry to
Now,
interrupt, Reverend Anand, if you could conclude your message, sir. Thank you.
Yes, my last point. Now my community is defeated. We are now weak. We lost our brothers and sisters. We suffered a lot, but all these things are not in vain. We learned a lesson. We learned a lesson. Like, as I have suffered, now I am capable to helping or strengthening others who are suffering. So my weakness should give me a ministry. My weakness should cause me to value others. This is my humble suggestion. Let us be united to fight with a common goal, that is COVID-19. And definitely we are going to win. May God bless you all. Thank you.
थैंक यू रेवरेंड आनंद जी, थैंक यू वेरी मच। बहुत सारी बातों को आपने बताई और अपने बाइबल से भी बताया कि बाइबल हमें किस प्रकार से शिक्षित करती है, जानकारी देती है, हमें मोटिवेट करती है कि हम लोगों की सहायता करें, लोगों की मदद करें। और मैं हमारे साथ जितने भी हमारे धर्मगुरु जितने भी हमारे आदरणीय धर्मगुरु जुड़े हुए हैं, प्रोमिनेंट धर्मगुरु जुड़े हुए हैं, हम आप सबों का बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद करना चाहते हैं, क्योंकि ये विषय ऐसा है जिसमें आप अपने अनुभवों को हमारे सामने रखना चाहते हैं और हम ये पूरा प्रयास कर रहे हैं कि किस प्रकार से हम हमारे समुदाय को हम जागरूक कर सकें और खासकर हम धार्मिक बातों को लेकर, धार्मिक विषयों को लेकर या धर्म से जुड़ी ऐसी बातें जो हमें उत्साहित करती है लोगों की मदद करने के लिए, आगे आने के लिए, भेदभाव को दूर करने के लिए, उन बातों को आप हमें बता रहे हैं, आप हमें अपना रिकमेंडेशन दे रहे हैं, हम आपका बहुत बहुत आभार व्यक्त करते हैं। हम अपने कार्यक्रम के दूसरे चरण में हैं और मैं आप सबसे क्षमा चाहता हूं कि थोड़ा सा हम अपने कार्यक्रम में डिले हो गए हैं। तो जो हमारा दूसरा कार्यक्रम का भाग है, इसमें 2 सवाल हैं जो मैं आपके सामने रखना चाहूंगा, हमारे सारे पार्टिसिपेंट्स के सामने और हमारे आदरणीय धर्मगुरुओं के सामने। और मैं चाहूंगा कि जो हमारे आदरणीय धर्मगुरु हैं जिनका मैं नाम पुकारता हूं, वो अपने अनुभवों को और अपने विचारों को बड़े संक्षेप में, हो सकता है अगर हो सके तो 1 मिनट के समय में आप अपने विचारों को व्यक्त करें। जैसे मैंने पहले भी कहा कि हम थोड़ा सा डिले चल रहे हैं। जो विषय है जिसके ऊपर हम चाहते हैं कि आप अपने रिकमेंडेशंस को दें, सुझावों को दें, वो ये है कि अभी हमने देखा है खासकर हमारे समाज में कि जो हमारे फ्रंटलाइन वर्कर हैं, जो खासकर लोगों के बीच में जाकर अपनी सेवाओं को दे रहे हैं या दे रहे थे, और खासकर ऐसे पेशेंट्स, ऐसे 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 परिवार के सदस्य जो कोविड से ग्रसित हो गए, या उनके घर में कोई पेशेंट है, या फिर निम्न स्तर या निम्न वर्ग के जो लोग हैं जिन पर ज्यादा इसका असर पड़ा है। और खासकर जब इस बीमारी के बारे में समाज में एक ऐसी भावना उत्पन्न हो गई और एक ऐसी भेदभाव की जो भावना समाज में उत्पन्न हुई, ऐसे अनुभव को हम चाहते हैं कि आप अपने हमारे पार्टिसिपेंट्स के साथ शेयर करें। और आप अगर ऐसा आपने कभी अनुभव किया है या इस प्रकार की घटनाओं को अगर कहीं आपने देखी या सुनी है, तो आप हमारे पार्टिसिपेंट्स को, हमारे जो आपके अनुयायी हैं, उनको आप क्या सजेशन देना चाहेंगे, आप क्या सुझाव देना चाहेंगे कि कैसे हम फ्रंटलाइन वर्कर और हमारे कोविड पेशेंट्स या लोअर वर्ग के वल्नरेबल ग्रुप्स के लोगों को हम उनके बीच में इस डिस्क्रिमिनेशन की भावना को समाज से हम कैसे दूर कर सकते हैं। तो मैं आमंत्रित करना चाहूंगा ब्रह्म कुमारी दुर्गेश नंदिनी जी को कि आप अपने रिकमेंडेशंस को हमें, हमारे पार्टिसिपेंट्स को दें कि आप ऐसी सिचुएशन में हमें क्या करने की आवश्यकता है। ओवर टू यू मैडम।
थैंक्स अ लॉट। पहले तो हम यही चाहते हैं, यही समझ रहे हैं, वी शुड अंडरस्टैंड, फर्स्ट वी शुड हैव द अंडरस्टैंडिंग। जो पेशेंट है या पेशेंट की फैमिली है, तो जब इस बीमारी में या ऐसी हालत में गुजर रहे हैं, उनकी मनोस्थिति को, क्योंकि वी आर ऑल इन वन फैमिली। हम यही तो कहते हैं ना, वी डू प्रीच दैट वन वर्ल्ड वन फैमिली। तो जो भी वो फ्रंटलाइन वर्कर्स भी और जो पेशेंट या उनकी फैमिली भी है, दे ऑल बिलोंग टू वन आवर फैमिली। तो एक फेलो फीलिंगनेस रहनी चाहिए कि और उसके साथ ये जो अंडरस्टैंडिंग रहे, उनकी मनोस्थिति कैसी हो रही होगी, ये फील के साथ हम उनको कोऑपरेट करें। हम उन्हें भले विथ ऑल द सोशल नॉर्म्स जो अभी आज पर हो जो नॉर्म्स वर्ल्ड हेल्थ ऑर्गेनाइजेशन जो प्रेस्क्राइब कर चुके हैं, उसको मन में रखते हुए हम सबके अंदर से सबके करीब जाए। So it is not from one corner, even from the hospitals. The patients used to tell doctors are not coming to us. We are not getting the proper treatment. But when it is asked, doctors are telling, yes, it is taken care, but some of the doctors, they are also very cautious. Okay, ये तो जो हाल गुजर रहा है, तो सबके मन में ये भय है। लेकिन भय को दूरी करने के लिए, क्योंकि हमारी जो अब तक जितनी भी ऑनलाइन प्रोग्राम्स जारी रही है, तो हम यही बताते हैं कि इम्यूनिटी को कम करने के लिए ये एक भय एक बड़ा रिस्पॉन्सिबल रोल प्ले करता है। तो इसीलिए हम जब सबके लिए अंडरस्टैंड करें कि कौन सी परिस्थिति में वो गुजरते हुए होंगे, और उसके साथ वो अपनापन के फीलिंग के आधार से कोऑपरेट करने की मनोवृत्ति रहे। कोऑपरेट करने के लिए हम अपने करीब भी जाते हैं, बट इफ वी मेंटेन कि हम मास्क लगा कर रखते हैं, और जो सैनिटाइजेशन या जो स्वच्छता जो हमारी कल्चर की पूरा सबके लिए जरूरी है। और अभी ये पैंडेमिक हमें सिखा रहा है कि वी शुड गो बैक। हमें उस भोजन में भी और अपनी जीवन की धारणा में भी स्वच्छता कायम है। तो हम यही सिखाते हैं, यही सबको बताते हैं। We need not worry much. We should go ahead. We should have a fellow feeling for all, even the patients, even the workers, frontline workers. We should have empathy for everybody, and we should cooperate everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Brahma Kumari Durgesh Nandini ji. Thank you. Over to Shri Manveer Singh ji. Sir, could you please give your recommendations on this? Manveer Singh ji?
हाँ जी सर।
Yeah.
हाँ जी, कैन यू हियर मी?
यस सर, यस सर.
मेरा तो ये कहना है जी कि we should keep the we should try and keep the morale of our frontline workers high. So to keep the morale of our frontline workers high, we should obey the government guidelines. I remember, in fact, when this epidemic started, we could see so many videos on TV and on WhatsApps कि पुलिस वाले डंडे बरसा रहे हैं और लोग फिर भी बाहर निकल रहे हैं. तो ये सीन खैर अभी तो चेंज हो गया है. People have started understanding because there was a lot of uncertainty about the situation at that point of time. The uncertainty has cleared quite a bit now, I believe. People have understood the disease better. They are adhering to the government norms. Like social distancing बहुत जगह में पालन हो रही है, बहुत कम जगह में लोग उसको अडर नहीं कर रहे, बस ज्यादातर सारे मान रहे हैं, सोशल डिस्टेंसिंग भी मान रहे हैं, मास्क भी पहन रहे हैं और हाथ भी धो रहे हैं और जरूरत पड़ने पर ही घर से निकल रहे हैं. बहुत लोग अभी इस बहुत अवेयरनेस बहुत हो गई है, तो पहले वाली सिचुएशन अभी नहीं है और हम इसको बरकरार रख के हम लोग अपने फ्रंटलाइन वर्कर्स के मोरल को भी हाई रख सकते हैं ताकि जितने कम बीमार पड़े, जितने उनके फ्रंटलाइन वर्कर्स पे प्रेशर कम हो, उतना ही हमारे सबके लिए, हमारे सारी सोसाइटी के लिए अच्छा है. थैंक यू जी.
थैंक यू मनवीर सिंह जी, थैंक यू वेरी मच सर, थैंक यू. मैं जल्दी से अपने दूसरे सवाल पर आता हूं और ये सवाल है कि ऐसी स्थिति में हम एकजुट होकर कैसे कार्य कर सकते हैं, हाउ द कम्युनिटी कैन एक्ट टुगेदर, और खासकर जो हमारे जवान साथी हैं और उनके साथ जुड़कर या हमारे समुदाय के जो लोग हैं उनके साथ हम एकजुट होकर ये एक सकारात्मक विचारों को हम कैसे लोगों के बीच में लेकर आ सकते हैं या हमारे समुदाय, हमारे कम्युनिटी को हम कैसे सशक्त बना सकते हैं, इस विषय पर हम बातचीत करेंगे. और मैं इनवाइट करना चाहूंगा श्री सैयद जी को कि बड़े संक्षेप में आप अपने रिकमेंडेशंस को आप हमें, हमारे पार्टिसिपेंट्स को दें.
देखिए, दिस इज in the time of pandemic, as I told earlier, that we should face the situation unitedly, and particularly when this thing happened in our place in Bhubaneswar and Cuttack, other places, we recommended our Muslim brothers that the zakat is the every year percentage of your saving is distributed among the poor. So we told that whatever is your zakat to be distributed, you start distributing from now itself to the lockdown period and help the needy persons with medicine and food, those who are locked in their houses for 2 months. So this has a good impact, and we, alhamdulillah, in many places we were successful to reach to the people and help them with the annual zakat contribution from the families. Many other this type of steps were taken, but as a whole, if I suggest that we, all the faith leaders or community leaders from different communities and faiths sit together and regularly interact, I think we can have a better approach to the situation and do it more properly. Thank you.
थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू. आपने कहा कि ज़कात के बारे में, और मैं विश्वास करता हूं हमारे जितने भी धर्म है जिससे हम जुड़े हुए हैं, वो सारे धर्म हमें सिखाते हैं कि एकजुट होकर हमें समाज की मदद करने की आवश्यकता और एकजुट होना बहुत जरूरी है. और आपने भी सराहना की कि इस प्रकार के प्रयास को निरंतर किया जाए ताकि जहां पर धर्मगुरु एक साथ इकट्ठे हों, बातचीत करें, एकजुट हों और एक साथ मिलकर हम समाज के बारे में, समाज के विकास के बारे में हम चर्चा कर सके और हम कुछ एक्शन प्लान्स को डेवलप कर सके. थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू वेरी मच. प्रोफेसर शशिकांत जी, could you please give your suggestions, your recommendations?
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. There's a very wonderful general sort of a question that has been thrown to me. I think I will go by the experiences of all the respected religious leaders. One of the best approaches would be the understanding of the concept of unity and oneness of mankind. And here, when we go for a united effort to fight this kind of a pandemic, we really decided that there will be a chain prayer for the whole of humanity. And we really didn't do it as a kind of a lip service or as a kind of a fear that it should not happen to my family. Lot of wonderful spiritual concepts were involved over here. They were truly understood with the understanding of the purpose of life, with the understanding that the destiny of this humankind is one. And with that oneness of mankind, we really, I'm talking about the real dark, days of the shutdown, when actually no one was able to go out and things like that, because there was no way to help. This is the kind of divine beseeching that we implored from the Almighty, that yes, you are giving us an opportunity to grow, because when there is growth, there will be disease. So the pestilences are coming as tests, but they will make us stronger. I think one of the strongest way to understand our destiny was the unity, and this spiritual unity was shown through prayers. And then, of course, as I told you, we undertook later on not later on, I mean, simultaneously, all these core activities were going on, empowering the children through this kind of education and empowerment of youths. They were all going on, because when we understand a unity and a purpose in life, these kind of things and all the small specific details of helping each other, so giving relief, which we, by the way, were also doing very, very vigorously, they all fall into the place. So this was a kind of a very broad kind of a systematic spiritual approach, with reliance on the word of God, that we really, tried to pray for the whole of the humanity. And also in different places of Odisha, we really catered to them, so far as relief is concerned, so far as giving counseling is concerned, and all these things are involved.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Saab. Thank you very much. Over to Reverend Anandji. Could you please give your recommendations, Reverend Anandji? मुझे लगता है शायद वो
I think he has dropped out, Manish.
Yes, I think he has dropped out. Okay, कोई बात नहीं. Okay, so before I hand over our next session or the piece of this program to Hepzibah ji, मैं हमारे जितने भी आदरणीय और सम्माननीय हमारे धर्मगुरु हमारे साथ जुड़े और इस पूरे प्लेनरी सेशन में जिन्होंने अपने बहुत ही बहुमूल्य विचारों को, रिकमेंडेशंस को हमारे पार्टिसिपेंट्स को दिया, उसके लिए मैं आप सबों का बहुत बहुत अभिनंदन करता हूं. बहुत आपको मैं आभारी हूं. मैं आपको धन्यवाद देना चाहता हूं और मैं आशा करता हूं कि इसी तरह से हम एक साथ मिलकर, एकजुट होकर हम लोगों की सेवा के लिए, समाज की सेवा के लिए हम निरंतर प्रयास करते रहेंगे. सो थैंक यू वेरी मच. थैंक यू वेरी वेरी मच. ओवर टू हेप्सिबा जी.
Thank you, sir. Also very nicely comparing most of
Professor Shashikant, you were saying something, sorry. Professor Shashikant, you were saying something. If you could unmute yourself.
Oh, I was just trying to give thanks to sir for comparing over most of the talks, and also all the organizers for organizing this wonderful event, which gave us opportunity to share our views and really to exchange our thoughts on how to make a better world.
Thank you so much, Professor Dr. Shashikant. We are really grateful for your support, especially as a representative of the Baha'i community. And we are also grateful to all the faith representations that came in for this plenary, because it was a very diverse representations from all the communities, Christian, Muslim, Hindu, and Baha'i community, and Sikh community, and Muslim community. Everyone was there, and we are really grateful for all the representations. And also immensely grateful to Mr. Manish Lal for so effectively moderating the session, like pointed out by Professor Shashikant. He has been really supportive with everyone, and bringing out the essence of the discussions effectively. And also, we are grateful to all the speakers who shared the key messages on discrimination and stigma, and also touched upon the theme of violence against women and how we can end violence against women. We are very grateful for that. We are also grateful to all the audience members who stayed throughout the session and were active participants. We've got messages from them and appreciating the session. We intend to take these discussions at the grassroots, and hope that everyone who has received messages from Dr. Ritu and the UNICEF people and everyone else will be able to implement them in their lives. We are really grateful to everyone. And with this, I would request my colleague to share the screen and share the joint appeal with everyone. Yeah, if you could put it on full screen, Shri. Yeah. Uh, would like to take this opportunity to release the joint appeal, which is between Sphere India and all the joint signatories who have been part of today's plenary session. Basically, what this joint appeal states is not to discriminate or stigmatize against anyone affected with COVID-19, and also refrain from day-to-day public gatherings. As we know, there are cases rising constantly, and waves of COVID-19 cases happening. We should refrain from public gatherings and look after the well-being of everyone else around, and not be complacent towards the guidelines that Dr. Ritu had highlighted in her session. And various health organizations have laid their guidelines. We should always follow them, that have been highlighted by many faith leaders and scholars today. We must also use this time to be dutiful citizens and stay healthy and stay positive. Would also like to specially mention once again Dr. Ritu Chauhan from the World Health Organization, and Miss Lopa Tripathi from UNICEF, and Miss Radhika Srivastava from UNICEF. We are really grateful for them to have joined the session today, and been part of the session throughout the plenary discussion, and brought in their expertise, and also their thoughts on the session and topics that have been assigned to them. We are really grateful. Once again, I'm really appreciative of Mr. Manish Lal for effectively moderating and making the session very meaningful. We are also grateful for partnering with us. And to all the panelists, would like to inform that the press note will be released in English as well as the local language. With this, we have also live streamed the session on YouTube, so you can always go back and check it, and also share with your community members and friends and family members. Uh, I would especially like to mention that we will be taking these discussions uh, to the grassroots level of Odisha, and also uh, be active, dutiful citizens to help combat COVID-19, and uh, be mindful of what is happening around us, and effectively combat with it. With this, I would like to conclude the session. Thank you so much for being active participants, and hope to see you in other sessions as well. Thank you so much.